Today I'm going to do a project to welcome in 2024, and it's going to be based on the painting I Saw the Figure 5 in Gold by Charles Demuth. I'm going to start in pencil, probably use my permanent marker, a straight edge, and later I'll be using some watercolors and some gold paint. Okay, welcome to the new year. Resi says hello. I'm going to start with my numbers. You can use a stencil for this. I'm going to start just by drawing, and I'm going to have them be kind of different sizes. So I'm going to sketch my number, and I always know it's hard to see the pencil when I sketch, but that's the point of starting in pencil so that I can make changes. So I'm going to make my 2024, kind of trying to use my whole paper, and if you look closely, you can see my pencil lines. And now I'm going to make them into shapes. So I'm just going to go around my numbers. And once they're outlined in permanent marker, you'll be able to see them. I'm going slow and steady. I'm going to try and keep my lines parallel so I get a nice thick number. There's my first two. I'm going to go around my circle, and then I'm going to just make my oval in the middle. Not really a circle, actually, that's my 0. Same thing for my next letter. My goodness, my next number too. It's easy to make the first line, and then I'm going to go slower with the second line so that I can make it kind of parallel. My 20 and my 2. Next comes the number 4. And I kind of tend to go around the outside first. And then I'll go ahead and make my negative space. So now I have nice kind of big bold block letters for 20. Why do I keep saying letters today? For 2024. So in the Charles Demuth painting, there's some things kind of hidden, and the background is very much diagonal and angular lines. Some of the lines are cutting through the numbers. So I'm going to use just a straight edge. I don't have to measure. And I'm going to think about the placement of these lines so that it's interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and split. And I might want to plan it in pencil first. I always like to plan in pencil. And I'm going to look at where I want to split my lines to kind of create interesting shapes. The Charles Demuth painting is called the precision movement, the futurism movement. So it's very abstract, lots of straight edges. And he has those numbers in his painting. The number 5 is representing a fire engine. So we're changing that idea and making kind of a abstract painting welcoming in the new year. Now you can kind of see, you might not be able to see because it's pencil, but I'm going over the numbers in some places and under. I can kind of erase if it looks too busy. I'm just kind of splitting this up to make it interesting. Nugget thinks it looks good. I think he thinks it needs a cat in there. So I'm kind of breaking it up. It looks good. Maybe I'll make some parallel lines here. I like these diagonal lines. They almost look like a searchlight going across. And these lines could be good because it makes me think of some of the New Year's celebrations, things like fireworks. So you could have your lines kind of representing some of those motions, because that's what Charles Demuth was doing with his number 5, and changing the size was creating a sense of motion of a fire truck. So now I have these lines ready. I'm going to pick and choose what ones I want to outline with my permanent marker and erase the rest of the lines. Okay, now I have my lines in my background and I have my number for the new year. And one of the things that Charles Demuth did with his is he put some little details in there. He made his picture kind of a portrait of a friend, and he did some things like adding his initials and his name. So I'm gonna have my students choose some small details that they could do, like their name. I'm gonna do, as I usually do, the names of my children. So I can kind of put their names around in places. I'm thinking about things for the new year, so my family is important to me. You could have other words that you want to put in there. You could even put in something like a New Year's resolution. And since Nugget was very vocal earlier, I'm going to add him too. He's pretty happy to be in 2024. So now my line drawing is done. It's all outlined in permanent marker. I have my subject. It's very abstract, but you can clearly see the numbers that tells you something about our big idea today and the celebration of the new year. Now for the next step, I'm going to add color, and I'm just going to use watercolors today. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this basically any way I like, any color scheme that I like, but I am going to try and use these different shapes that I've created with my diagonal lines and the numbers, and I'm going to kind of focus on making those different shades and different colors. Now that our painting is done, it's time for us to add that lovely gold. I'm going to add the gold to just a few lines and shapes to give my painting a little bit more detail and pizzazz. And there you have it, friends. Welcome to 2024. Let's make it a creative new year.